Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, the podcast where nerds talk about nerdy things. I'm your host, Mr. Nick Barrett, and of course, as always, I'm joined by my fabulous co-host, Mr. Jackson Glass. How are you doing today,
Thank you so much. I'm doing so incredibly well, and I think that there is not enough science being put towards people that try to turn left out of the Chick-fil-A drive-thru. Because, sir, you need to just turn right and go around. I don't want to wait for you. And I'm sorry if that sounds rude, but you are causing a lot of people a lot of problems, and someone's going to get hurt. So turn right and go around.
But what about the Chick-fil-A's that do have a left turn out of the drive-thru?
Well, most of them do, but they're super dangerous. Most of them,
That is
they either
true.
need
That
to
is true.
They either need to turn right and go around, or go to a Chick-fil-A with a light, because
Oh, speaking of Chick-fil-A drive-thrus, someone I know, like one of my friends, was going to the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, went out turning right, and they scraped their car. Like, they didn't, pull out and then turn far enough. They just kind of, turned, and because their car is so low to the ground, it scraped against the curb.
oh, they curbed it.
And also, scraped against the poles and stuff and just scraped the entire side of the car. And I was like, yikes. That's not a Chick-fil-A's
We'll
fault.
file
That's
that under human error.
Yeah, that was driver error. That was not
Yikes.
Chick-fil-A.
Man, don't blame Chick-fil-A on the scratch on your car. Also, I try not to eat on podcasts, but I have a bag of peanut M&Ms right here, and they're so good. So I will be eating them the entire time.
So, today we are here. This is literally our last episode of the year. Congratulations. Look at us. We made it a full calendar year.
Season 4 coming
soon.
soon.
Podcast consistently. Season 4 starting in 2 weeks. Let's go.
But let's not dwell on the
because
future.
what is a break other than just us not posting on Instagram?
Even if that, I'm pretty sure we'll still have some
Even
posts.
at that, it's fine. You'll never be able to tell we're on break. It'll just be less work for us. So, as before we move into the new year, let's stop and look back on 2021, and let's do a bit of a year in review, if you will.
Yep.
And if you stick around towards the end, we may or may not share some podcast stuff.
Oh, new things coming soon? Question
New
mark?
things coming next year. You might have to stick around.
I
till the
hate
end
that
to
we
find
can
out.
say next year and it means in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because next year is such a big thing, but in reality it's oh yeah, Saturday.
It's also kind of surreal that 2022 is a thing, because you'll always say oh yeah, movie coming out in 2022 or 2023, and you're like, that's not a real year.
No.
And then I had a real existential crisis titling that Breath of the Wild 2 video I made, and putting 2022 in the title, and I was like, back in June when they said 2022, it didn't feel real.
No.
But now it's literally a couple weeks away.
I mean,
when this comes out, it's days away.
Isn't Spider-Verse 2 coming out next year?
Yes.
2022.
It is October something.
2022 felt like years away. And it was
and now it's days away.
Spider-Verse in 2022. I don't know if I can wait that long. And now I'm like, guys, I need more time.
Guys, what happened?
And this is being recorded out of order. I have not seen No Way Home
We haven't
yet.
seen No Way Home yet.
So, but also, I have a feeling No Way Home will kind of dominate everyone's favorites or whatever, even just because of release hype. So I'm kind of glad we can disconnect this from No Way Home, because I don't want this year to be defined by No Way Home, because there were so many
I don't think it should.
other incredible things. So nothing about No Way Home in this episode, even though it's already out. We have a full episode for that, hopefully.
Yep. Hopefully.
So
we still don't know.
scheduling is hard,
It's okay.
guys.
You guys in the future will know. So the way I broke this up is I want to talk about our year in review for all media, not just movies. So games, we can briefly go over my Spotify Wrapped, your Apple Music Rewind or whatever.
Apple Music Rewind, gang, let's go.
Nintendo put out their 2021 year in review stats for the Switch, so we can look at that briefly, and then we'll move into shows we watched and movies we watched and liked and all that. So, do you want to start with music or games? I'll let you decide.
Why music or games? Why not movies?
We're going to save
Okay,
movies to the end
fine.
because we're a movies podcast. We're going to knock games and music out of the way.
Okay. This will be quick.
Because what's a year in review without Spotify?
All right, you're right. You're right. Let me get my Apple Music Rewind.
Ew,
So,
Apple Music.
Apple Music is
Cringe.
not as bad as people make it out to be. Spotify is really hard to find things on. That's what I will
No,
say.
it's not.
Apple Music
You
is
know
a
what?
lot more convenient for finding
I'm going
things.
to hit you with some analytics. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh.
Only 18% of our listeners listen on Apple Podcasts.
You see?
62% is on Spotify, which means Spotify is better, which is the truth.
Coffee Time podcast stats.
I got Megan to switch to
That's
Spotify.
a big deal.
That is a big deal. You lost. I win.
If you look at the... Hold on.
Gotcha.
The Coffee Time podcast
Checkmate, liberals.
stats. I have to do this. 40...
These are not the stats we were supposed to
No,
be going over with,
49% listen on Apple Music, okay?
okay? Ew.
Or Apple Podcasts or whatever.
Well, to be fair, you guys have like what, 5 consistent listeners,
okay,
and 3
that's
of you listen
so
on Apple
rude.
Podcasts.
That is
I'm like
so
the one person
rude.
who listens on Spotify.
Anyway,
I'm just kidding.
So-
Nerdiest podcast,
Coffee Time Crossover?
Crossover,
We just
where I
finished-
secretly buy you guys
we
out.
just
What?
finished our season 1 finale of Coffee Time, and it was kind of emotional. So, go see.
Did you guys cry?
No, because we're men.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. Men can cry, but
Come on. Oh.
Wow. Okay, so should I just go over like my top artists, or
I'm gonna do, because I have like my top artists, top songs, and my top podcasts.
okay?
But you don't have that.
I never
'cause
got
you
I never got my
lived it.
top podcast, but I know what my
Yeah.
top podcast was, so I can tell you. But this is me being outed on the podcast.
Uh-oh.
My number 1 artist this year was Taylor Swift.
Oh, man.
28 hours of T-Swizzle this year.
Bo
and
Burnham is crying.
I
right now.
have no regrets. She's a very talented woman. Second, I'll just do my top 3. Second artist is Shama Mirma. I don't know if you know him. He's a very funny Christian rapper and comedian, and all their songs are very well produced, but they're also very silly and very fun, and so I find it very good for me to listen to those music and just kind of have fun. And then my third top artist was the original Broadway cast of Hamilton.
Hey, yo.
12 hours of Hamilton this year.
Last year on my Spotify Wrapped, my 3, 4, and 5 respectively was Lin-Manuel Miranda, Daveed Diggs, and the original Broadway cast of Hamilton. Like, I really wish that Spotify would be able to distinguish, like, oh, you were listening to the Hamilton album, and not like put 3 repeating and take up 3 of my top 5. It's really stupid.
So those are my top 3. And then my top albums, where number 1 was Hamilton. The thing is, Apple Music counts your top albums as albums you listen to individually. So a lot of the times I just listen to playlists, and I'll build playlists and only listen to that. So I very rarely will listen to just an album. But I got Hamilton and then Red Taylor's version. Now, Red Taylor's version came out in, I think, November, and it already hit my number 2 spot. And then third was Healthy Snacks by Peabody. Highly recommend to anyone.
No
listening.
Bo Burnham?
No
Really?
Bo Burnham. You see,
Did you not listen to Inside that much?
not really, because I prefer watching it. I like the visuals enough to like want to watch it, and I feel like I've had the desire to really watch Inside again recently, so I'm gonna do that. But I also I listen to what makes me feel good and what will be good for me, and a lot of those songs would not be good for me to listen to on consistently.
Understandable.
I do not die.
We need Kids Bop version of Welcome to the Internet.
Welcome to the internet. You should be friends with your mom. You could. So we. Yeah.
Turn everything around.
So yeah, we'll talk about Bo Burnham later because Inside had a big impact on me this year.
It really did.
Spotify Wrapped. Now that the Apple Music cretins are out of the way.
Yeah, get out of here. So my Spotify Wrapped, which I know I've shared it with you before, but my top artists, my top 5, are Yuki Hayashi, who is the composer for the My Hero Academia soundtrack. Bo Burnham at number 2. Michael, Game Chops, and Highland. Those last 3 do all of the Zelda lo-fi.
Yeah.
So, like, whenever I'm studying or I'm just, like, sometimes when I'm just chilling playing Breath of the Wild, I'll just hit shuffle on my lo-fi playlist, and that's most of what's in there. My top song was number 1, which, kind of ironic. Number 1 was number 1.
Number 1? From what?
Yes. Number 1 is the opening theme for My Hero Academia Season 5. And so there's number 1, and then 2 and 3 are titled in Japanese, but they're soundtracks for My Hero Academia. And then number 4 is number 1, but it's a cover because the cover came out 2 months before the actual song officially released. So I listened to the cover a lot. And then number 5, of course, which I could have told you this was going to be in there, is Welcome to the Internet.
Yeah.
Big flex. I love that song. My top genre is anime, and my minutes listened was 44,943.
So here's my question. Which is worse? Using Apple Music or using Spotify to listen to anime music? Which is worse?
Apple Music.
No.
Let me tell you. My top genres was anime, show tunes, lo-fi, dance pop, and otacore. Which otacore is just a different way of putting, like, that's just Japanese music in general. Let's see what else. My top. Oh wait, number 3 was not a soundtrack. Number 3 is Star Maker by Kana Boone, which was my number 1 last year. And then my top podcasts was number 1 is Anime Out of Context. Hilarious. I love it so much. Number 2 is the Tomorrowland Transit Authorities, my Disney podcast. Number 3 is Wood and Eric, which honestly, not gonna lie, kind of inspired me to like do more things for this podcast.
Wow.
And like inspired me to make it better.
Very cool.
Number 4, the Coffee Time podcast.
Let's go. That's my podcast.
And
if
number
you haven't
5
picked up already.
No way. And number 5 is the Nani no Anime podcast, which is one I picked up kind of like midway into the year, but their episodes are long. Like they have like 2-hour long episodes. So that's what I mean, it's a good podcast, but that's what thrust it into the top 5 as opposed to something else. I also don't listen to like my podcast diversity is not super high.
I think next year
I kind of just like pick 2 of the same shows.
I think next year
listen to
one of
those.
my goals will be to diversify my podcast listening and really start becoming like real fans of a lot of the podcasts that I've become friends with on like Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. And like really become a listener, because I feel really bad because like I'll listen to these podcasts every once in a while, but really like I have my comfort podcasts that I really struggle to stray away from. So that's one.
And it's also like at the beginning of the year, I had an hour drive to school, like to and from. So I could just turn on a podcast and finish 1 podcast a day or like 2 podcasts a day. But now I live 5 minutes away from campus, and it's like, I can't really get anywhere significantly in a podcast in 5 minutes. So now most of my listening is either like when I'm in the shower or when I'm just like doing stuff around my apartment, or even when I'm just sitting playing video games. That's where most of my podcast listening comes from.
So
Apple
Podcast does not give you your top, but I will tell you like what I listened to this year. I listened to, my number 1 was definitely the Church Stories podcast. I eat up those episodes like nobody's business. They have Oh my gosh, there's a new episode. I'm sorry. There's 144 episodes, and I've listened to all of them.
Okay, respect.
I highly recommend it to anyone. It's like the funniest, one of the funniest podcasts I know. And then I also listen to Written By, which is it's under the same umbrella as, it's under the after school program umbrella. And they write a short film every episode. And so I think that's a lot of fun.
Don't we follow that podcast?
Yes.
Or that podcast follows us? Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I also listen to...
I've been meaning to check that one.
It's really good. Some are better than others because, sometimes the prompt is easier or flows better.
Mm-hmm.
I also listen to a lot of Aaron is the Funny One, where, I don't know if you watch Jack Films on YouTube, but that's...
Never been a Jack's Films guy.
You see, that's okay. I like the podcast more than the YouTube at this point, but his wife is so funny. They work really well together.
It's gonna be me.
I think married people are like the best people to host podcasts together. I legitimately believe that, because I don't know, that's a connection that a lot of people don't reach.
That's true.
So those are my podcasts. Also, the Nerdiest podcast, of course, but I only listen to.
Oh yeah, that's right. You listen to them
sometimes.
I will say I went back and I listened to which here's one thing I want to bring up before, which is a great segue into our Nintendo Switch year in review. I want to point out that, and I need to just admit this on the podcast. I said Breath of the Wild 2 2021. Obviously not true because, when you're listening to this episode, unless it comes out on December 31st, it's not. So, unless they surprise us somewhere in there. But, and I know I sent you this clip earlier in the week, but on the Zelda 35th episode, I said that if the game didn't come out this year, I would buy you a copy of it. So, when it does finally get a date, I will buy you a copy of Breath of the Wild 2.
Huzzah!
I'm already setting aside my money. See, here's what I want to tell you though. If you want the super deluxe whatever they do for it, you're on your own. But I will get you a base copy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Anything else, you're on your own. Bud. So
yeah.
Great segue into Nintendo Switch year in review.
Yes. Let me...
And then I can talk about, actually, while you're pulling that up, I'm going to briefly talk about the games I played this year, because I have a list. There's a great app I highly recommend to everyone listening, especially if you're into games. It's called, I want to say it's called Gamer's Guide, or GG. I'll probably put a link in the description. It's a great app. It's run by this one guy who's, super passionate about just making basically a letterbox for video games. And you can make lists, and you can track your games, review your games. You can mark them as want to play, played, completed, beaten, shelved, all this stuff. It's a really great app, great user interface. 99.9% of games are on here.
Not sponsored.
No, not sponsored at all. But it's run by one guy. And it's great. It's free. You don't have to contribute anything if you don't want to. I'm using it for free, but I'm shutting it out. So, highly recommend if you want to follow me on there and you get it. I am Nick_with_no_K. So, yeah. It's Nick with no K, but with underscores in between everything. This year, I beat 10 games, which I put out on Twitter. I want to watch 60 movies and watch 40 shows and play 10 games. I played 10 games. I beat Age of Calamity, 3D World, Luigi's Mansion, Miitopia, Katana Zero, Celeste, Skyward Sword HD, Minecraft Dungeons, My Hero 1's Justice 2, and Sonic Colors Ultimate. Okay. Out of those games that I've played, I will say that either Katana Zero or Skyward Sword HD are definitely the favorites I played. Katana Zero is it's an indie game, and you play as this guy who can slow down time and manipulate time, but it's got this really interesting mechanic where you cannot take more than one hit. If you get hit once by a bullet or something, you have to start the entire level.
It's super hot.
Yeah, it's great. I had a lot of fun playing it. The story is actually really engaging, more so than I thought it was going to be. And it's almost like a choose your own adventure type thing because there are prompts for what you can say, and the story changes depending on which prompt you pick. So like if you're overly rude to someone and cut them off, your relationship with them is going to be different than if you're super nice to them, which I think is a very interesting and like it's a nice detail to add because some games like, and I feel like I don't want to like single out Nintendo, but I feel like a Nintendo game would put in options for you to say, but it wouldn't impact the story at all. It would just like keep going. Like if you're rude to someone, they'd be like, "Oh, well, it's fine. I'm super nice. Let's move on anyway."
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to have that aspect of it. And then of course Skyward Sword HD, Zelda. Like, what can I say?
Okay. Do I go now or?
Yeah, you can go now.
Should I just go all the way through?
Actually, let's do what we did earlier because we already did this today to prepare. We'll just go back and forth.
So I played 19 games this year.
I played 46.
I played yours are gonna be a lot higher than mine.
Oh no,
Total
definitely.
of 257 hours.
667 hours. Also, I want to point out, like, had I not played like 1 hour of Smash this week, because they were like the last time we updated your stats was the 12th, and I was like, so what you're saying is if I didn't play Breath of the Wild on Monday, would have been 666 Nintendo. Nah, I feel like they would have rounded down to 665. Because I feel like in some programs, like 666 doesn't
even exist.
like it just doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, so
It's either one or the other.
ta-da! Your most played game this year was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for 73 hours.
Mine was Minecraft for 103 hours.
You see, that's the thing. I played probably even more Minecraft than that this year, but it wasn't on the Switch.
I believe it.
So PC doesn't do roundup. And then second was Animal Crossing with 71 hours. Because I got to get that island looking good.
Yes, sir.
And then, this is really funny. My third most played game this year was Monopoly for the Nintendo Switch.
Let's go!
Because we play all the time.
We do. And the games are like 2 hours each. My number 2 game was Smash Bros. At 93. And my number 3 was Breath of the Wild at 90. I put another 90 hours into Breath of the Wild this year, which is crazy to me. Because the game's been out for 5 years, and I've had it for 3 years. And, like, I can still sink almost 100 hours into the game again, which, honestly speaking, I'm probably going to sink another 90 into it because I just started over. Since Breath of the Wild 2 has a release date, air quotes, like, just next year, I went ahead and started my 3-heart, no Rivali scale, no Mipha's Grace run of Breath of the Wild. So, probably going to sink even more into it than I already have.
Next. I played the most in January. I don't think that really matters.
Yeah, I don't have that stat.
Most active day
I mean,
was
it's
Saturday, January 23rd, where you clocked 5 hours of play. On this day, you put in 3 hours with Monopoly for the Nintendo Switch.
Dang, it's really weird that, like, your most played day...
Let me see if I have a picture from that day.
Your most played day was only 2 hours, or what, 3 hours on
5
Monopoly?
hours.
I think that's our longest Monopoly game.
That was our longest Monopoly game. I don't play games for long periods of time. I just don't do that. Let me see if I have a picture from that day. You can continue.
Hold on. I'm texting my friends because they're all coming over today, and we're going to play video games. Hi, friends, if you're listening to the podcast.
Love you all. No, you're right. I do have a picture from that day. No, that was the next day, 24th?
Wait, maybe I have a picture from my day. Let me see.
You see, because I have a picture of a Monopoly game on the 24th, but not the 23rd.
Maybe I have the 23rd. Let's see. Months. We're going to go back to...
Because I would only have taken a picture if I had won.
That means I won. Wait, what was the date?
January 23rd.
23rd? I have no pictures on the 23rd.
Wow. I have a picture of a 2-hour game on the 24th.
All right, let's look in October.
We play Monopoly way too much.
No, we don't. It's fine.
All right, moving on.
October 19th was... Oh. I can't share that. The video I have for the 19th, I can't share on the podcast because it's not family friendly. Because there's some serious swearing in it.
Oh.
But it's the video I sent you of me in the blue hair wig.
Oh.
That's the only thing I have from October 19th, which, needless to say, my most played day was October 19th. I think, what did I do? My most active day was Tuesday, October 19th, where I clocked 9 hours of play, with 7 hours of that being in Smash Bros. Because that was the day after Sora came out.
Can you send me that video again?
Later, yes.
Now.
I'm not going to send it now.
Time a la modes. 227 hours played in the TV in docked mode. 29 hours in handheld. Now, if I got an OLED, I think the handheld hours would go up just because it's better to play handheld. But I almost always play docked.
I can definitely say that, like, since I've gotten the OLED, I've wanted to play handheld more. Like, there was one night I was just sitting in bed, and I was like, you know what? I want to get my OLED and play Animal Crossing in here instead of on the TV, because the OLED looks so nice. Just a curious question, though. On your screen, when you see, like, the Switch, is it the OLED on there, or is it a base model Switch?
It is the OLED.
Okay, because I didn't know if that was, like, something they did... like per person, because I have one and you don't, so I didn't know if that was something that they changed.
I have one and you don't.
Got him. So this year I got 603 hours in TV docked mode, and I got 64 hours on handheld.
That's if you bring it to like school. That's your main.
Yeah, I mean there were some serious days where like we were playing Smash Bros every day for a solid like 2 hours. So that's where most of that came from.
Yep. Hi again, friends.
That was the last stat I have. Hi again, friends. Hi, gang.
Yeah.
How are we doing
That's
today?
the end of our games in
Oh,
review. Very good.
finally. We're going to talk about movies.
Thank goodness.
Whew.
How many movies did you watch
Movies and
this year?
shows. Actually, can we start with shows? Because I have shows pulled up.
Do your shows real quick, because I did not track shows this year.
Okay, well, I hit 40 shows exactly.
That's too many.
Because, no, it's not.
It is.
Most of these are anime. I just want to give a shout out to a couple really good shows. Tonikawa Over the Moon for You is a romance anime in which I share a birthday with the main protagonist.
gosh.
Like day, month, day, and year. Like we have the exact same birthday.
So if you
I
do your
connected to that
research,
anime.
then you can get him a birthday present next year. So
That's true. If anyone wants to send me a birthday present, go right ahead. Obviously, shout out to WandaVision.
Shout out to WandaVision.
Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans. Please watch it. It's so good. Rapunzel was really good. Horimiya was another one that was really good. Loki. Girlfriend was a really bad anime that I watched. What else? Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Easily one of my favorite anime I watched this year. Yes. No, I know. I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds bad because of the title, but it is such a good anime. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
You can't watch it dubbed, but I'm going to force you to watch it at some point. It was really good.
Everyone knows the best show this year was Squid Game. I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on, gang. No, I watched Squid Game. It wasn't that good. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What else? The only other thing I want to shout out, Tact OP Destiny. I shouted it out in my anime episode I did a couple weeks ago. As being really good. It is really good. I think it's it actually will have finished by now. But it was really good. Okay. I really enjoyed it. So
I didn't keep a list.
That's all I got for shows.
But some of my favorite shows that came out this year, WandaVision, GOAT.
Goat.
Loki is also incredible. What else came? Like, that's the problem. I don't watch a lot of new shows unless it's like Marvel or Star Wars.
I want to ask you a question real quick.
Hold on. Final thing.
I'll let you finish.
WandaVision is probably my favorite show that came out this year. Number 2, Only Murders in the Building. will forever be in like one of the best shows I've ever seen. Go steal Hulu from your mom so you can watch it.
Did you not see her Instagram post? She said I can't have it because it's not hers to give.
Well, you see,
which means she's borrowing it from someone else.
Well,
although I'm going home for Christmas breaks. Wait, how many episodes is this first season?
10? 12?
Figure it out. Are they like 24-minute episodes, or
They're
are they
about
like
30.
hour long?
30 minutes. 30.
Okay, because I could totally like binge watch it while I'm home.
Your mom would like it too.
I mean, considering the fact that I watched all of Toradora in 36 hours, which is a 24-minute, 26-episode anime, I think I can handle Only Murders in the Building. So maybe I'll convince her.
Oh my gosh, she would love it. It's the most bingeable show ever. Yeah, 10. They're 26 to 35 minutes, 10 episodes. I think you really could do it.
Dope. We'll see what happens. I'll let you go. I will report back in the new year.
You see, you have to trust me. Because when have I ever recommended you a show or a movie that you did not like? Who told you to watch Inside?
Twitter.
Oh, come on. But I also trust you because you let me watch Weathering with You.
That's true.
So we're just two incredibly good-looking people with incredible taste in movies.
I can't wait to force you to watch more anime
Yay.
next year. I just get it. Like, I've got you hooked on the anime movies, and now I have to get you hooked. On,
I liked that one.
I have to get you hooked on anime shows. No, okay. No cap. I will give you my HBO Max login. You need to watch Your Name, which is another anime movie. It's by the same guy who made Weathering with You. You need to watch it. It is so good. Like, if you liked Weathering with You, you'll love Your Name.
If you like... Okay, so what's your...
No, literally, that's what it would be.
You have a question? Is this what you...
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask real quick. Do you feel like Marvel peaked with WandaVision and Loki? Like, do you feel like Loki was our peak for the year and everything's gone downhill from there? Not to say that, like, Shang-Chi was bad because it was good, or Hawkeye is bad. I don't know. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, and episode 5 just came out today, the day we're recording this.
I think...
And, of course, No Way Home is reviewing really well.
So, I think Marvel will peak with No Way Home. That's what I hope. My hope is that No Way Home will blow us out of the water. But which also sucks because it's not going to get any award nominations because it's a Marvel movie. Anyway,
Duh.
I think they may have peaked with Loki. Not seeing No Way Home, I would say they peaked with Loki this year. They also, I think, released too many things this year. I think we didn't need What If. We didn't need Black Widow. Do we need Hawkeye? I don't know yet. I've only seen the first episode.
Yes, but I feel like it could have come out next year. Although it is, like, intensely tied to Christmas, so maybe not.
Christmas, and it's also tied to Black Widow. And so I feel like the Marvel market was so saturated that I couldn't keep up with it. And it was almost like they did quantity over quality for a lot of things. Because Shang-Chi's really good. But then there's also Eternals, which bombed really hard. Then there's Black Widow, which...
I literally forgot that movie existed because it came out a month ago.
I didn't mind Eternals. I thought it was fine. Eternals bombed hardcore. A ton of people didn't like Black Widow. I thought What If was not great. I have not a lot of desire to watch Hawkeye, which I will finish it because I want to see how it connects to Black Widow and like all that stuff. But I'm not like, I have not been excited to watch something for Marvel that isn't No Way Home. I haven't been excited to watch a Marvel thing since Loki. And I think that's sad.
Yeah, and I think there's something to say that, like, the oversaturation isn't going to stop. Like, they have almost the same number of shows and movies planned out for next year. And, like, me, who's a hardcore Star Wars fan, we got nothing this year. Well, I don't want to say nothing, because we got Visions, which maybe some of, like, the best Star Wars content they've released since they bought
Since Disney got Star Wars.
Since they
Vision
bought
Season
it?
2, manifest it, guys. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though,
That is enough shows. Thank you
that
all
is
very
enough
much.
shows. Moving on to movies. Letterboxd. Let's go.
We stand Letterboxd.
Letterboxd. If you want to sponsor us, please.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Or should I go ahead?
I'll go first. Okay, so I set my movie watching goal for 60 movies this year. Like, new to me and like rewatches and new that came out this year. And my final number, I'm recording this before like I go home and watch more Christmas movies and all that. Is 69 movies.
Nice.
The year started out as of right now with Cars, and we ended out, the most recent one I watched was 8-Bit Christmas on HBO Max, which was okay. It wasn't like, it was good. Now, in terms of like movies I watched this year in general, obviously Weathering with You is going to be up there because it's Weathering with You. I finally got the courage to move that to number 1. Like, it has officially beat out a Star Wars movie for my number 1 spot of all time, which I know, crazy. Now, I also made a list of ranking the new movies, like the 2021 films that came out this year. And in my top 10, I'm only going to do my top 10 because there's like 32 movies on here. Number 1, like going, actually, no, let's go from 10 to 1.
Number
10 to 1 is, number 10 is Last Night in Soho, which it should shock everyone that a horror thriller movie is in my top 10, let alone in this list at all. Number 9 is Encanto.
Number 9.
Really good, really solid Disney movie, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the only Disney movie in the top 10.
Whoa.
Which says something. Number 8 was My Hero Academia, World Heroes Mission. Had to be in the top 10. Come on now.
It had to be there.
Fatherhood with Kevin Hart, number 7. Pretty good. Free Guy was number 6. Sword Art Online, the movie, Sword Art Online Progressive, the movie, was number 5, which I uploaded two TikToks about that, and I have definitely caught the anime side of TikTok in that. People are flaming me left and right because that's just how it is.
Oh yeah, you can follow on TikTok now.
Yeah. You can follow on TikTok and Instagram at the Nerdiest Podcast.
Link in the description.
Shang-Chi is number 4. Mitchell's versus the Machines is number 3. I was shocked that one didn't move at all because I saw that in April. Number 2, Bo Burnham's Inside. And number 1, the movie that I have seen the most this year, and the movie that hit my number 1 at the beginning of the year, and literally nothing has been able to top the theater experience I had for this movie. I would dare say that not even No Way Home will be able to top the theater experience I had with this movie. My number 1 movie of 2021 is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Mugen Train. I know it came out in Japan in 2020, and it's currently listed on Letterboxd as a 2020 film, but it released here in the States in 2021, and that's all that matters to me. So,
Okay.
it really captivated me, and I saw it like 6 times in the theater, and it was great. So,
Wow.
and also Inside, like,
Come on.
it's
Come
Inside.
on.
I love
Come on.
Inside.
So
I relate to it. Well, I don't want to say I relate to it, but like,
it hits
some pretty good songs, man.
Um,
It hits hard.
I finished my peanut butter M&Ms. I'm sad now. So this year I didn't set a goal. I just said, let's see how many movies I watch. And I ended up watching 76 movies.
No, you beat me by 7 movies.
And I'm
I'm
not done yet, too. Like, I still have a ton of Christmas movies to watch. And I'm going to watch Weathering with You again, probably this week.
Oh, please do.
So
If you get any of your family to watch it, let me know.
my dad said he would love to watch it again. He said that he wants to burn it onto the tablet in his car. So got him. But
Well, now you have a DVD. So
he
you
was
can do
a
that.
big Gundam Wing fan, so like he's not new to the anime world. And this is completely off topic. He tried to watch the new Cowboy Bebop. He said he fell asleep.
Did you see that got canceled?
It did.
Like, which I want to say, one, so sorry to the cast and crew who worked on that. They like, and you know, maybe the cast and crew thought it was really stupid too, but like, you know, I'm sure there was someone on there, who really enjoyed it and really enjoyed writing and working on it and all that. And you know, sucks to be the cast and crew who don't have a job now, like they don't have a season 2 to go back to. But props to Netflix for like reading the room kind of, and like seeing that people didn't like it instead of so here's the thing is like usually when Netflix is in these situations, they like, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm like losing my train of thought.
They milk it.
Not that they milk it, but like they kind of just push through instead of like, because like people say, hey, this is bad, we don't really like this. They'll just like be like, what was that? I don't hear anything. And they push through.
3 more
Props
seasons.
to them for like actually stopping and being like, oh, people don't like this. Let's not continue.
Well, the
this.
point of
So
like, it's the genre of anime like utilizes an animation quality so well that it doesn't
almost
translate to real life.
It's almost like the word anime is short for animation.
Wait. Hold on. Wait, what? Are you serious?
Wait a minute. What?
Wait.
Whoa, no way.
You mean to tell me?
Wait.
You mean to tell me something that's popular back then wasn't popular when we did the exact same thing but worse?
What?
You're blowing my brain, dude. So
No, I did. What?
So I did watch 76 movies so far this year. I didn't watch a lot of new movies that came out this year, but I watched a lot of movies that were new to me. And favorite movies that were new to me, I watched a lot of Steve Martin movies this year, which you can't blame me for. He's kind of an icon. Some of the favorite movies that were new to me this year were, I watched all of the John Wick movies this year, or I watched John Wick 2 and 3 this year. Iconic. 10 out of 10. I watched all of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies this year, including No Time to Die. Iconic. They're all so good. The Suicide Squad is one that came out this year and that I actually really liked.
The James Gunn one? Well,
yeah, of course.
It came out this year. That was a stupid question.
My favorite movies that came out this year were No Time to Die, Free Guy, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and I want to talk about this for a second. My favorite movie that came out this year. Now it is a movie because it's on Letterboxd. That's the unit of measurement.
Got him.
Everything always comes back to Inside. Now, let me tell you, Inside is not what I usually watch. I always watch comedies, and Inside is a comedy, but it's not a comedy.
Healing the world with comedy.
Healing the world. And he created something that he created Inside, and it's something that still, I would say, haunts me to this day because it came out in May, right? May or March. And it's still, not in like a bad way, but in like, I still think about it to the where like he created something so real and so deep and so complex and so crazy that I have not been able to stop thinking about it since March. And so it sounds dramatic. Inside changed my life. Like,
wow, that sounds like a really clickbaity YouTube thumbnail.
Inside changed my life.
I mean, no, I can definitely see what you're saying. Because Inside, like, I didn't think I was going to like it because I had a really bad experience with Bo Burnham before. Like, I think I tried to watch his What special.
Yeah.
And I just got turned off by, like, how overtly...
He was overtly crass, very sexual.
Yeah, and that, like, really turned me off. And I was like, okay, I think I'm a pass on Bo Burnham. because I had heard a couple of his songs before, and I was like, oh, those are funny. But then I remember I asked you specifically, you were like, you should watch Inside by Bo Burnham. And I was like, does it have any of that stuff in it? You were like, there's one song, but other than that, no. And I was like, okay, let's try it out and see how it goes. And I watched it the first time, and I was like, dang, that was really good. And then I started listening to the soundtrack, and I was like, dang, this slaps. Yeah. Like, there is so much hidden meaning. I can sing Welcome to the Internet on, like, 0.5 speed and still hit all of the rapping points. I memorized basically the entire soundtrack, give or take a few songs. Yeah. And then I watched it again with my mom, which it was really interesting to watch it with my mom. No, it was really interesting to watch it with her because she's like, wow, this is really depressing. And I was like, I know, right? Isn't it great? And she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine. So, and what I will say is my biggest connection to Inside came when I had to move again. When I had to move from where I was at. And I don't know if I've told you this, but I feel like the song Goodbye, like the closing song, is basically a song of all of my emotions of going through that process, which it gets super personal. I'll tell you about it later because I don't want to put it on the podcast, but that's all I'm going to say is that song really connected me to the process of moving and also All Time Low.
Which doesn't stand for Atlanta.
No. ATL. It's All Time Low, not Atlanta. And, like, listening to that song in particular in the last week or so has been really, like, not that I'm, like, mentally ill, but, you know, it's one of those songs that, like, you're not fully in that mindset, but it does help you express emotions that you can't necessarily put into words, and that is Inside.
That is the beauty of Inside. It's not, you could say, oh, this is really sad, or oh, this is like this is really depressing, and you could say that, but if you could also view it through the lens of, this is something everyone has felt at one point in their life. Like, especially over the last year, that was the point of Inside, where he said everyone feels alone at some point. And he translates that emotion in the most beautiful way I've ever seen. And it ends beautifully, where he leaves. He gets out. Spoiler alert. He gets outside and he hates it.
Outside summer
22. Omicron variant, coming in clutch, giving us Inside 2.
Hold on. Could you imagine though, like him making a whole, like basically Inside 2, but it's called Outside, about going back into society after being alone for a year? I think listen, Bo, if you're already working on that, good for you. Can't wait to watch it.
My favorite song from Inside is That Funny Feeling, because
that is a good song.
Like, nothing has ever described that feeling so much more. He doesn't even describe. He says it's that funny feeling. He's like, you know, and I'm like, I do know. The Lion King reboot gives me that funny feeling too. Thank you. It does. The temptation to just plagiarize that special runs through my brain every day.
Don't.
I'm not.
It's a masterpiece. The biggest letdown of this year was Inside losing to Hamilton at the Grammys or whatever. Hamilton, I was like, are you kidding me?
It was the Academy Award.
It is something like that. Yeah. Does Hamilton really need another award?
Because,
like, really?
Okay, sorry, you released something that you did like 4 years ago on Disney Plus. That doesn't mean you should be eligible for awards again. It wasn't even recorded in like 2016. Like, it's not like they did it again. It's so stupid. Anyway, that's a soapbox. But my new favorite movie. Welcome back to the Inside Pod.
Welcome back to the Inside Podcast.
My new favorite new movie to me from this year was, in fact, Weathering with You. And I watched it solely for a podcast. And I think it has some of the most well-written characters of any movie I've ever watched. So, there we are.
Do you want to know? Here's a little tease for next year. Great segue. Unless you have anything else to say.
No, I'm
good. Great segue. Do you know what anime I'm going to force you to watch next year?
Ooh, share.
My Hero Academia.
Ooh, okay. A little spicy.
The first season. Just the first season.
And then we'll come back.
Because I do want to do a podcast episode on it of, like, inducting you into the anime cult, for lack of a better word. The first season's only 13 episodes, and it's on Hulu dubbed, so you could watch it dubbed. That won't stop you. I think subbed is better, but, you know. Did you watch Weathering with You in English or Japanese? I watched it dubbed
because it was, one, Alison Brie. Two,
Fair.
I watched it really late at night and didn't have the energy to read the subtitles.
Fair.
I'll watch it again.
The dub is really
I'll watch
good.
it subbed at some point. But, like, the dub is incredible. Like...
It is.
I was having a debate the other night with someone about subtitles. And they were like, I hate subtitles. They're like, if it's in another language, yeah, I need the subtitles. They're like, it takes me out of it to have subtitles on a show. Which I completely disagree with. Now, this may just be me being stupid and saying, I don't understand what they're saying. But I'm also like, I know every single word that they're saying with subtitles. And so I think and it's like that engrosses me more because I understand what's going on. So I don't know. I'm a big subtitles fan.
I mean, I will say after watching subbed anime for a solid, like, I don't know, 4 years now, I'm slowly starting to learn very basic Japanese. Not that I would, like, walk into Japan and start, like, speaking these basic words, but I can be, like, looking at my phone and hear them go, "Nani?" And I'm like, oh, they just said what?
What?
Although the very interesting thing about Japanese is, like, they can say "nani" and it can mean what, or it can mean, like, what and then some, and it very confusing. I do want to learn Japanese at some point.
Why did you say walk into Japan like it was a store? Like, pretty sure that's a country.
I mean fly in, because you can't walk to
there's
Japan,
a door.
silly. Well, actually, you know who can walk to Japan? Jesus.
Amen.
Because he can walk on water.
What? I mean...
Whoa.
Let's pray.
Now, to transition into... actually, as we wrap up here... I want to briefly go over some of our stats for this year because
it's a great year.
Anchor did our like podcast wrapped, and I'm gonna like blitz through these because we're getting close to an hour, and like him and I both have things we need to do today. So, first of all, I want to shout out our biggest audience here, Brazil. Our Brazilian fans, you guys are great.
Thank you so much.
You make up, I want to say, 52% of all listeners, which is crazy. And another thing that I want to bring up, which we got a message the other day on Instagram, and it like touched my heart because this person reached out to us and they were like, "Hey, I'm one of your Brazilian listeners. I listen to your guys' podcast because it helps me learn English as a second language." And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm like, this podcast is literally changing someone's life. Like, not in like this super huge grandiose way, but like even just helping someone learn another language because they're listening to our podcast. Like,
yeah,
that's
a big
crazy.
deal.
That blew my mind. I never thought like the podcast would have that kind of reach and that kind of effect on people. And like, it's one thing for Anchor to say, "Oh yeah, all of your listeners are in Brazil," and you can be like, "Oh yeah, that's kind of crazy." Yeah. But it's another thing for like someone to reach out and for that to be verified.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That was a big deal. So
thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And aside from like the stats, like we got the Anchor was like, "You have some impressive growth this year," and literally everything was plus 999% compared to last year. Because like last year we did nothing until September, and this year like we've gone consistently all year,
which is crazy.
We were on the top podcast charts for top TV and film. And our peak position was number 17, and we were on those charts for 74 days.
That's crazy. Y'all are wild.
I kind of want to look into the charts for Brazil
Yeah.
and see if we're still there and see like
my
what else
gosh.
is there.
Yeah. Y'all are crazy.
107 people listen to us more than any other podcast. As we've said, thank you. It really means a lot that you decide to listen to us talk about random movies and games and all that.
No.
More than any other podcast you could listen to. Not saying you should go listen to anyone else, but
It's still wild
know.
to think about. And I think the
know.
biggest thing I've learned through this is kind of I've learned a love of the game and how like we could stay where we are right now, never gain a single more listener than we have right now. Not to jinx us, but we could
Don't jinx it.
We
Oh my
could
gosh.
like not get a single more growth than, and I would still want to do this every week. So
yeah, it's so much fun.
When you're in it for the stats, it doesn't like breed growth. So
The last little stat I want to share is we released 1,927 minutes of content across 34 episodes, which, by the way, does not include all of our episodes. We would be, if it included all of the episodes for this year up until this episode and like stopped at December 31st, it would be over 2,000 minutes.
yeah.
Because I think it cut off at like October 31st. Like that My Hero Academia episode I did, that was the last one it counted.
Okay.
So that was really frustrating. But yeah, also I did the math. We only need to do 42 episodes next year to hit 100 episodes, which is not unfeasible when you break it down to the fact that we have 26 Mondays. So we have 26 episodes guaranteed and only 16 bonus episodes. That's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, think about all the stuff that is coming out next year. Like, think about all the movies, all the games, all the shows.
I'm just saying. 100
Episode 100 to end the year next year.
100 party? Question mark. Everyone's invited.
That's our
question
Christmas
mark?
special next year.
Everyone's invited? Question mark. Special guest appearances? Question. I'm making too many promises. I'm sorry.
Special B movie deep dive with Jerry Seinfeld for episode 100.
Make
what?
sure you subscribe to this.
If we hit 100 episodes next year, I might genuinely cry. Like, no cap.
That's good.
Like, never thought my podcast would make it over 100.
Wow.
But yeah, that's all I have. I do want to say that, and you know, we've kind of already said this, but thank you guys. Like,
thank you so much
to everyone who's listening. Thank you for listening. We quite literally could not, like, I don't want to say could not because we could still make episodes, but like we could not make these episodes without you guys like listening and watching. If you're watching on YouTube or I guess on Spotify now, or like following us on Instagram or TikTok or any of that other stuff, like we really do enjoy making content, and that's why like obviously it's why we're gonna keep doing it next year, at least until, you know, our schedules get so busy that we can't do anything.
I'm pretty sure I'll be scheduling my wedding around a podcast, so
yeah, I mean, come on, you gotta like
let's be real.
I can't do my wedding on this day.
Sorry.
We got a podcast to
gotta
record,
Gotta talk about the sixth Spider-Man movie Tom Holland did. So,
whoa. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. It means a lot because like I've tried to do podcasts in the past and it didn't really take off, but this one really took off, and like we actually have a decent listener base and, you know, follower base. And, you know, Jackson, thank you to you for like running and championing the Instagram. And like there's definitely, like, I went back and looked at some of the old posts and stuff. There's definitely been growth on the Instagram this year. Same for the podcast. Like if you go back and look at any, like even if you just look at the graph for this year, it's been a constant uptick all year. Like it hasn't dropped back down to where it was. So
yeah,
it's been a good year.
I think next year year will be probably, I think, the best year we'll have. That's what I'm hoping.
We got Breath of the Wild 2 next
hoping.
year. So like,
I think
just all I'm saying is like you got to saddle me up for an hour-long episode, and I'll talk about Breath of the Wild 2 for a straight hour.
I also say,
like, I'm ready.
I say thank you to you because you are so devoted and work so hard for whether it's scheduling or putting together notes or making reels or we filled out this year's schedule. This man filled out this year's schedule in April. Like,
bro, I'm about to do it again for next year.
The whole thing. So, and if you...
I need to put all the dates on next year's schedule. and then we can fill it out.
Well,
sir. To leave you guys on a cliffhanger for next year. If everything goes as according to plan, next episode we're gonna be talking about our most hyped things for 2022. So expect to hear me talk about Breath of Wild 2 at some point. And also, you may or may not see a new logo for the podcast.
Rebrand.
It's the logo on TikTok, and I've kind of been teasing it since the Christmas party episode. But the new logo looks really nice. I have it on my phone.
So excited.
It looks great, and I can't wait.
If you want a teaser, you can go check it out on TikTok, because like that's it's already the profile image, but that's not even the whole thing. So it's like it's crazy.
That's just the text for the logo. So if you want to see the logo in its full, it'll get updated soon, according to when this episode comes out. So, well, sir, one last social media plug for the year.
Final outro.
Crazy year.
Ooh. Single tear.
Thank you for listening today. If you want to stay up to date with the podcast, you can follow us on Instagram or TikTok at the Nerdiest Podcast. If you have feedback or a question you want to submit, you can do so through the Contact Us page on our website.
If you really enjoy what you listen here, please consider giving 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I'm needlessly emotional for this final outro.
It's okay.
Anywhere you listen, you can...
It's not like this is the end of the podcast. No,
it's just like such a it's like a checkpoint, and it's so crazy. The best way for this to grow is for you to tell your friends, because word of mouth is legitimately the best way to grow. Y'all have been champions of sending it to your friends. So don't stop. Thank you so much. This is a labor of love. So it's incredible to see the benefits from that, and I'm glad you're enjoying. Because I'm having a heck of a time.
Again, thank you for listening, and we hope to see you in the next episode. Peace.
See you next year. Bye.